Hey everybody, I'm Greg.
And I'm Katie. Welcome to the Meeple Society. Today we are on episode 49, part 3 of the M's. Not sure if I should say take 2 or not. We tried recording yesterday. Somebody forgot to hit record. Yeah. Anyway, so take 2. But before we get started, again, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like this type of content, and of course hit that bell icon if you want notification of future content.
And you can follow us on social media, following the link below.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, so we're in the H's, but we're going backwards to the H's.
M's.
We're in the M's, and we're going backwards to the H's.
Yes, that makes much more sense.
It's something like that. It's a word. It's a letter that's not in the letters that we're talking about.
Okay.
And it's a cat game.
This is Hissy Fit. This was a Kickstarter that just delivered in the last couple of weeks. Little card game about trying to get your cat into the carrier to go to the vet. And if you've ever owned a cat or ever known a cat, you know how difficult that can be. It is cooperative, which is very nice. There are 3 different levels of play here, or 4 different levels of play, I'm sorry. You have your kitten mode. Now, keep in mind, you win the game if you and your opponents, or you and your partners, your fellow players. Teammates, thank you. Good word for that. If you and your teammates can get the cat moved down into the carrier. You lose the game if the cat scratches you too many times. So kitten mode gives you the option of 6 scratches, gives you the ability to take 6 scratches. Their claws are very small. They're sharp, but they're small. And then you have cat mode, which gets a little more difficult. A few less scratches you're allowed to take. And then there is fierce mode, yet fewer, no, same number of scratches, but harder to get into the cage. And then there is feral mode. But anyway, so those are the 4 modes of play. The idea of the game, there are 2 rows of cards out. You have your kitty cards, and your kitty cards, your cat cards, describe what the cat wants in order to be appeased. So like this cat, and you said there was a thing in here, this cat is stubborn. So you have to combat his stubbornness. Each turn, a cat will come out. Some cats will do things as soon as they come out. There's an icon up here in the corner, like this cat will immediately give you a scratch. Now there is a first aid kit in here that will heal scratches if you pick it up. But some of them will remove some of the comfort cubes. You are putting comfort cubes out onto the cats as you are playing cards to help comfort them and to get them closer to where you need them. Once you've comforted a cat completely, you pick it up and you put it, it goes into the discard pile. Then there are also human cards, and you can pick these up as well. The human cards will have different icons down here at the bottom that help you to appease the cats that are out on the board. So this guy could appease, well, catnip does everything. So, you can appease just about any cat with this one. But you can use one of the boxes, like this one has 2 boxes on it. You can use one of the 2 boxes on your turn. So you can either help to appease some of his stubbornness, or you can move the cat
into the carrier.
You can move the cat twice toward the carrier. It's just an interesting little take on a cooperative game.
I think it has a possibility for an expansion where you have to keep the cat calm on the observation table through the entire vet visit.
Yeah, good luck with that.
That one would be a little harder.
Yes, at least with any cat we've ever owned. All right, so it's an interesting little card game. I actually really enjoyed it. So this one sits in our collection. We're going to hold on to it. Now, one thing that it did give you, and I like this, is it gave you the kitty cat that goes along the carrier. They give you 1 cat meeple to put on it. Now, we, of course, put ours as a black cat, but it gives you, if I can get to it, all these stickers. And I guess you can go to their website and get more kitty meeples to put all these stickers on. But they give you all sorts of stickers that you can customize your kitty meeple with. So now, in deference of Jarvis, of course, we did ours as the black kitty. Anyway, that is Hissy Fit. It will stay in our collection.
Yep. Okay, off to the M's. We are going to start with the game she doesn't like.
No, I didn't like this
Spoilers.
one. Spoilers, yeah. All right, so this one when we first pulled it out, it reminded me of the game called The Game. You are putting things in order. Let me get rid of these cards for a second. You are taking the cards in your hand and you are working with everybody else at the table. Again, another cooperative game. You are working with everybody else at the table to put things in numeric order. The difference with this one, with the game, you can talk though. And we've covered that one. It's another one we have.
You can talk to a point. You
To a
can't
point.
tell them what's in your hand.
Right. But you can at least make, you can just,
You can kind of like say, I
can
really
make
like that
inferences.
pile right
yes.
there.
Okay. This one you can't talk at all. It is complete, utter silence. There are 12 levels to the game, so marked by the cards. The game also comes with, again, depending on the number of players, you start with so many throwing stars. The throwing stars, when one person says, hey, why don't we play one, everybody at the table throws out their lowest card. Has to be their lowest. There's a reason for that. Then they also get extra lives, because trust me, you're going to need them. As the levels go up, you get new things. Like this one will give you more throwing stars. Level 3 gives you another life, etc., etc. So, level 1, everybody gets one card. That's it. You look at that card, and everybody has to decide, is it the same card from yesterday?
I don't know.
So, everybody has to work it out amongst themselves silently who's going to be the first to lay down the card. If you have a low number, yeah, lay it down and hope nobody else has a lower one. But if you're middle of the pack, it can be tough. So, for instance, my card's a 51. I would be very hesitant to lay this down because it's middle of the pack, but I'm still lower than Greg. When you go up in levels, so for instance, we get to level 3 or level 4, now everybody has 4 cards in their hand that they're trying to work out numerically. This is where the throwing star might come in. So, yay, start of the round, yeah, I'm going to play this 6, great. But then everybody gets bogged down and nobody wants to play a card. Somebody says, okay, let's play a throwing star. You play that out, everybody throws down their lowest card. The benefit of this is everybody can see where you're starting. I'm starting at 56. Nobody's going to look at me till their cards are past 56 now, because they know all of my cards are higher than that. So there is some definite benefits to throwing those out, especially as you get later in levels and you have 10 and 12 cards in your hand. We've never made it that far.
Yeah, but you only got a limited chances to do that.
Yes, because you only have so many. You can't do it all the time. So it's an interesting game. I can see the appeal to it. I personally don't like it. It is stress from the minute I pick up that first card. So
Yes.
this one has sat in our collection for a while. We're going to move it over to the
It's been there
travel
for a
collection.
couple of years.
Yeah, it's been a little bit. We've played it twice. We've never made it above level 6. I looked. It was, matter of fact, one game we made it to level 3. And we lost both lives. We were done. It was pretty bad. So yeah, we're going to move this over to the travel collection. I can see the appeal behind it. I know it is a very popular game. There for a while, it was talked about a lot.
Oh yeah, when this came
Yeah.
out, it was people were losing their minds.
I don't like this box though. I hate
no,
this style box.
I've never liked that box. I've
Yeah.
seen some though that the regular card game boxes, kind of like how Hissy Fit was.
Yeah, like this or like the next one. Yeah, and I would much rather have a copy like that. But it is what it is. But yeah, this one's gonna move. I don't. Well, it'll never come off our shelf. Anyway, that's the mind. All right.
Okay, next one is Friedman Freeze's Megastar.
This is an older one. We've
Yeah.
had this one for a few years.
Well, the Mayfair tag kind
Well,
of gives you
yes.
that idea.
Yes. So the way this one plays, you've got 2 different colors of card. All right, so you've got your band cards and then your hit parade cards. The hit parade cards all go down the center of the table, like so, based on number of players.
Yeah.
So, 2-player game, you're only going to have 5 out. Now that being said, I'm gonna come across these colors, so I'll put them out. All right, you start out with so many cards. Over on this side, you deal out a specific number of cards. So you've got a bunch of cards over here. And then as the game progresses, you start out with, I want to say it was 6 cards in your hand, something like that. As the game progresses on your turn, you are going to lay down 1 card on this side and pick up 1 card from this side. That's your whole turn.
And it can be any card.
Right, it can be any card. But you're also going to draw a card off the top of the deck. So as the turns progress, your hand is going to get progressively larger by 1 card each turn until the deck is gone. The goal of the game is that at the end of the game, you want to be holding the majority of cards from the top of the hit list. So from the hit parade, I should say. So as the game progresses, these are going to move around constantly. A round triggers as soon as 1 card hits 3. Now, by that point, most of these are going to be gone. A lot of these are already going to be gone. They're not going to matter. So they will have been picked up into somebody's hand. Now, as soon as that happens, that's when all of this starts shuffling. You start with the top card, and you look at the number of cards that people have laid down. The green isn't going to go anywhere because he's already at the top. The black isn't going to go anywhere because there's no cards there. Blue, on the other hand, 2 people voted for him. So he's going to slide up 2 notches all the way to the top. Oop, there we go. Red, only 1 person voted for him. So he's going to slide up 1. Yellow is going to do the same thing. Purple down here, well, she must be very popular because 3 people voted for her. She's going to slide up 3 notches all the way up to here. Throughout the game, these are going to go back and forth. And the idea is you want cards in your hand that match the people at the top of the hit parade by the end of the game. I have yet to figure this game out. I always end up with the people way down here. It never fails. But, I mean, in this case, well, I got a couple blues in here. That's not too bad, but that was not exactly the way I played the game, was it? So it's an interesting take on this type of a game. I've never seen another one that does this type of thing, and it's so light.
Yeah, it's just the adjustments. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like this.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy the game. That being said, we don't take it off the shelf hardly ever anymore.
It's a light little game that you can take off.
That
anybody can learn.
Right. I like the fact that this is one of those games you can put in a purse and take with you. It doesn't take up a huge amount of table space. Yeah, It does take up some, but it doesn't take up a lot. We are going to, basically, the copy in our collection is going to leave the collection. However, we are keeping the copy in the travel collection. I think that it is a cute little game, and it's so easy to learn. It's not a hard game. You put down a card, you pick up another card, you draw a card. Done. It's just trying to figure out how things are going to move and holding on to the right cards. But yet, in order to get them to move up, you've got to play those cards. So it's a weird balance between holding on to something and playing it.
Yeah, because you gotta get it to move up.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just take. I've done it a couple times where I put it down beside one rock band and take one of their cards right back.
Yeah. Maybe that's what.
Because I'm trying to move them up the.
But yet you want to keep their influence. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I have. Apparently, I'm not doing it right.
I never go for the cards that are at the top of the game, at the top of the charts
because
at the beginning of the game.
Because they're going to be down. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to come down no matter what.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless somebody just keeps playing cards at that top spot throughout the entire game. But yep, interesting game.
Anyway, yes, interesting game. But it is going to leave our collection staying in the travel collection. So yeah.
Next, we have Mountain Goats. This is one of the all-play small box games. It does take up a little bit of room, but not a lot.
No, it's so easy. This would be a really good pub game, I think. While you're waiting for your order to come or just talking over drinks, this is a quick, easy game. Fits in a purse. Yeah, it's a cute little game. All right, so the way this one plays, this reminds me a lot of Can't Stop or Bad Company or Space Base. Any of
Bad
those
Company
ones,
in the forms that you're rolling dice and you're going to make combos out of the dice to be able to move things.
So it has that mechanism. So you're always rolling 4 dice and you're making sets, something that would be advantageous to you to move your goats up. The game is played. You have a number of columns out here. And some of the columns have more steps on them than others. And it goes all the way down to 5. So pretend there's a 6 and a 7 here. You get the idea. And there's 4. Nope, there's only 3 there. So then there's, like I said, there's a 6 and a 7 in there between them. Each turn, you are rolling your dice. And you are moving your goats up based on your die roll. So if I rolled this, wow, okay. Well, there is no 12, so that doesn't work. All I can do is a 10 or a 9.
A 10 and a 5.
Oh, I could do a 10 and a 5. You're right. Because you don't have to use all the dice.
It's a little bit of math there. I know you're not good at it, but...
Oh, whatever. Anyway, so I can make a 10 or I can make a 9 or, well, these two don't do me any good by themselves because there is no 12.
But there is a 6.
There is a, oh. So say I choose this. I choose the 9 and the 6. Well, the 6 isn't out here, so that's a bad example. We'll choose the 10 and the 5. So I would move my 10 up 1. I would move my 5 up 1. And then on my next turn, I would do the same thing again. Oh, look, there's another 10. Now I'm at the top. Oh, and there's an 8. I'll move my 8 up. My 10 is at the top. I show that by taking one of the chips marked 10. These are straight up victory points at the end of the game.
And they're stacked above.
Yep. There's a stack above each tile.
Once they're gone, they're gone.
Yes. Once they're gone, they're gone. But you get one by making it to the top of the mountain.
And staying there.
And staying there. Now, should Greg suddenly make it up to the 10, he would kick me off the mountain and I'd go back to the bottom. And he would now get the next 10 chip. And he would continue getting the 10 chips until I make it back up to the top of the mountain and kick him off. This has such a neat mechanic with the constant movement and trying to get your little billy goats up to the top, or your mountain goats, I guess, up to the top of the mountains to claim the victory chips. It plays, what, 5 players? 4 players. It's so cute and so easy. I didn't really put much stock in these, and I don't know why. It
makes it easier, too, when you put the cards the way they are, because it forms a mountain.
Oh, I have them backwards. They do.
Yes.
It does. Okay. I did not notice that. Did you just now notice that?
No.
Okay.
I almost commented when you started putting them out, and I was like, you got them going backwards, but that's all right.
So they go this way. Pretend the numbers underneath match, but whatever. I did not put much stock in any of the little all-play games because...
I'd heard almost all of them are really good.
And I've heard that, and I don't know why, because we like some of it.
I've seen a gameplay through of this one. I was like, I want that game. And couldn't find it anywhere and got it for Christmas.
This is what, a 20-minute game? This is an end of the evening, dice chucking, light, airy.
Yes.
Yeah, I like it. So that is Mountain Goats. Obviously, this one is sticking around. This one does sit in our collection because he just got it for Christmas. Almost can't fit all of the little goats in here. But that is Mountain Goats. Cute little game. Okay, I got it right. It is going to stay in the collection. Very much enjoy this one. I was very surprised by it. 1 minute to teach. Yeah, pretty much.
I usually find good games.
As opposed to Hissy Fit, the one I found?
It's okay. I mean, there's more of a game in it than you think. But.
Okay. All right, next.
You found this one.
He doesn't like this game.
No.
Spoilers. All right, Mille Bornes is... This is an old classic. This dates back to the 50s. I remember my parents playing this when I was a kid, and I think that's why I grabbed it when I saw it. But, all right, so the way this one plays, it's basically a racing game. A racing game with cards. There are a number of different types of cards in the game. There are your speed cards, so there are 25s, and there's 75s, well, there's a couple 75s, and 100s, and there's some 50s in here, and there's a couple even 200s where you can go 200 miles in a stint. Nice cards. This is the base of what you're trying to lay down. Everything else is either to
help yourself along
or to hinder other
the
people.
other player.
So in order to start the game, you have to have a roll card. Now you start with about 6 cards in your hand. And as the game goes on, you are playing a card and drawing a card. If you can't play a card because you have nothing in your hand you can legally play, then you have to discard a card and draw a card. and hope you draw something that works. You start the game by having to play the green light. After you've played the green light, you can start playing these on your turn until somebody stops you. There are a number of different ways somebody can stop you, one of which is to throw a stop sign at you or a stoplight at you, in which case you have to play another green light to continue going. Or they can throw out of gas at you, or an accident at you, or a flat tire at you, or speed limits. Now, these three stop you in your tracks until you have played the combat card, either a tank of gasoline, the repair shop, or a spare tire out of your trunk, one of the three. And then you can keep going again after you do that. The speed limit sign doesn't necessarily stop you in your track, but it limits how fast you can go. You can no longer play the 75s and 100s and 200s. You are limited to the 25s, and
50s.
There's no 50 in the stack, but you're limited to the 25s and 50s. But it doesn't stop you. And once you find an end of limit sign, then you can play it on top of that as your turn, and now you can start playing those higher cards again and hopefully catch up. There are 4 cards in the deck that give you kind of a permanent combat to it. Each one of the 4 cards that stop you, the flat tire is combated with the puncture proof. Once you lay this down in front of you, 1, it's 100 points, but 2, nobody can ever play a flat tire on you again. Your tires are puncture proof. There is the which one is it? The extra tank. They follow you around with a tank of gasoline. So
that'd be nice.
That would be very nice. Can I get this in real life? It's one of my least favorite jobs. But you know, nobody can ever play out of gas on you again. And then there's the driving ace and the right of way. And I want to say the driving ace is for accidents. The right of way is for speed limits, if I remember correctly. Or is it the other way around? I can never remember.
Well, the right of way looks like a fire truck on it, so that's probably for the accidents. And this one is probably for the speed limit sign.
That's possible. I can never remember which is which. I always have to look it up.
The driving ace, I would say, would be the speed limit sign.
That makes sense. Okay. Anyway, that's basically how the game plays, and all the different cards in it. It plays in a number of rounds up until somebody hits 5,000 miles. You play till somebody hits 1,000, add up your scores, start over again with a new deck of cards. And then once somebody hits 5,000, the game is over. It's kind of a chaotic game. It is 100% luck. I mean, there is a little bit of strategy in what you're throwing out.
Yeah,
but
like the last game we played, I could not get a go card to save my life, and I was throwing away all my cards that I could place that would help me if you play something on me, but I didn't have any cards out. So, but I was also drawing 100-mile cards, so I was keeping those and throwing everything out. By the time I got to go, I had a handful of $100 cards or 100-mile cards.
Yeah, you hit 600 miles,
which is
really fast.
how I beat you.
And he won. Yeah, he did. So anyway, Mille Bornes, fun little racing game. We had 2 copies of this. I had found 2 copies at Goodwill. We are going to let our copy go. However, we are going to keep the copy in the travel collection because he's never going to play it with me. So we'll just keep the copy in the travel collection. So that is that.
Next card game is
my goodness.
Minecraft card game.
This one was actually kind of cute. Now, just for clarity's sake, neither of us have ever played Minecraft on the computer.
No, we don't make.
No clue.
We don't play Minecraft.
Nope, we do not. We know a lot of kids who do. Our own
and a lot of
kids
adults that do too.
This is true. We have a lot of friends who still play it.
You know who you are.
Right? Okay. So there are craft cards in the deck. Turn them up right side up. There are craft cards in the deck, and you put 4 of these out. These show the victory points that they are worth at the end. They show the resources you have to have in order to craft them, and they show what the special ability is if you get it and flip it over for its special ability. Yeah. These are one-time abilities, but they do not take away the points from you if you use them, which is kind of nice.
I did like that.
Yeah, I did like that you didn't have to make that choice. They were there to use. So you have 4 of these laid out, like such, in the middle of the table. And then you also have a stack of them, because as they are built, you get more. Then you also have 5 stacks of resource cards. And actually, I think these are just stacks too, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
And deal them into 4 piles. Yeah, so you have 4 piles. Good point. So that you don't necessarily just draw a new one, it's whatever's underneath it.
Correct.
So there you go. It looks something like that. And then you have 5 even stacks, and I know these are not even, but you get the idea. 5 even stacks of resources out as well. On your turn, you have 2 options. You can either pull a card, so you can, oh, you're finding some of the weird ones?
Oh, you got them all up,
okay.
Except for one.
All right, so you can either draw cards from here, so you can draw 2 cards, 2 resource cards, or you can craft, either one. So you get 2 options. So I could decide to draw a card and then craft if I have everything I need in order to do it. One option is you can pull one of these cards you want for reserve, and then everybody starts the game with this little reserve cube that they can put this into, and they're the only ones who can build this. So that is an option as well. There's a number of different resources. There are other cards down here too. So as you're pulling them, things are going to pop up, like this TNT. If a TNT pops up, then whoever decides they're going to pull this one, nothing happens immediately, but whoever decides they're going to pull this one, pulls it and every other card off the top of the deck, off the top of each pile. And then from those cards, they choose 2 to keep. It can't be the TNT, that one has to get discarded. But they choose 2 of the others to keep, and then they discard the other 2. Mm-hmm. So it's a way of getting, I don't know why I just discarded a 2 and a 3 and kept it 2 1s, but you know, whatever. It's a way of getting a few extra cards in your hand and getting a choice. Now, in the process though, if you draw your card and you reveal one of these guys, what are these guys called again?
Looks like the gelatinous cube.
It does look like it.
It's called the creeper.
The creeper. So if you revealed a creeper, then everybody instantly has to discard 1 card out of their hand. They get to choose which card. Mm-hmm. It's not a random draw, thank goodness. But everybody at the table has to discard 1 card, and then the creeper goes away along with all of those cards straight into a discard pile. And then you keep going like normal. So, I mean, it was cute. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the play of it. Will it make me want to play the video game? No.
Yeah, and not knowing anything really about the video game.
Yes. Yeah, no, like I said, I've never played the video game, and I've watched it a couple times. I'm not sure why, but I've never played it.
I'm not sure exactly how close this is to the video game, because like I said, we've never played the video game.
Yeah. It was cute. It sits in the travel collection. I found it and bought it because of the Minecraft name. And we'll hold on to it. If I can get these cards back in here. The box is just a hair tight. Okay. Anyway, we will hold on to this. It will stay in the travel collection. I just think the name is going to make it come off the shelf, and it's a easy to play card game. Very easy to teach. So anyway, that is Minecraft card game. It is going to stick around.
Okay. Next, we have a kids game.
We didn't have that many kids games on this one.
This is a memory game.
This is the only kids game we have this round. Huh.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, this is your pretty standard memory game. It's just a Toy Story theme.
What have we learned about memory games? Katie is no good at them.
Oh my gosh, I'm horrible at these. My memory on a daily basis is really good.
And my memory on a daily basis sucks.
And these games bring out the exact opposite in us. I kid you not, he beat me 24-12. And of the 12, at least 2 or 3 of those matches were 100% complete flukes, because those tiles had never been pulled before. So anyway, standard game. You've got your piles out and you're one by one trying to turn over and make matches. Simple as that. We have a number of this type of game. They're pretty common in the kid genre. We also have a lot of them that do something else. Now, I want to keep one of these simple games, but at the same time, I don't think we need 10 or 15 of them of different IPs.
No.
For now, this is going to stick around because I want to look at all of them we have. I need to go through the list and see exactly what we have. This is the only one we have titled Memory, which surprised me. I know I have others titled Matching, or they're under the
Barbie.
IP name. Yeah.
This one has the IP of the Toy Story 3, though, but the
it's
main
called
title is
Memory.
Game.
So I want to look at all of them. We're going to keep one. I just don't know which one yet. So for now, it's going to stick around. We eventually want to get the kids collection down to about 2025. So there's only going to be room for one of this, but we'll see where we land with it. But yeah, pretty standard memory game. I'm sure we all played it as kids or with our kids, one of the two. Yeah, for now it'll stick around until we can determine exactly how many of them we have and make a choice then. Okay.
Next we have a Mayday game called Meteor.
This one was an interesting play. This is another cooperative. However, the first time you play it says to ignore the silence rule. But typically you're supposed to play silently.
Until a certain satellite comes out.
Right, until a certain satellite is built. There are advanced cards to make the game more difficult. You do not need to. Trust me.
We played with all of them.
We played with them, and that we lost pretty miserably. All right, so this game, oh, there's the other advanced cards. I knew they were down there somewhere. And more advanced cards. How many advanced cards are there?
3.
Is there 3 different ones?
Yes.
Wow. Okay, no wonder we lost miserably.
3 different types.
All right, so this game is played with a series of SAM timers, each SAM timer representing 1 day. Now, the tagline on this states that each one represents a minute.
I was going to say, they're 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes, a minute timer.
Yes, so in 5 minutes, a meteor storm will impact the Earth unless you can work together to blast the meteors into oblivion. Rockets can't be built that fast. 5 days, I could believe. 5 minutes? Anyway, work cooperatively, pooling resources and launching rockets to obliterate the impending threat, or cockroaches will inherit the Earth.
Okay, it's a game, so yes, 5 minutes is a rocket.
Anyway, and then it says, no pressure. It's just the fate of the world. So, anyway.
There was no raid rockets.
No. Oh, my goodness. Anyhow, so 5 minutes to do this. Everybody starts with one launch pad. So you have your launch pad sitting out. There you go. And then at the beginning of the game, depending on the number of players, there are a series of meteors out. And you shuffle these all up and deal out so many of each number. So there's 1 to 3s. There's just the hard one, that's a 7. There's 3 to 5s. There we go. Some 3 to 5s, 1 to 3s. There's another hard one that's just a straight up 6. And then the rest are all 1 to 3s or 3 to 5s, although some of them have some pretty detrimental effects on them if you blow them up. But you got to blow them up or you lose the game. These are sitting out here like so, and these guys are pretty standard. But throughout the game, everybody starts with a hand of cards, and this is all cooperative. One person can put a rocket down on their launch pad, and everybody can help with the resources to get that sucker launched. All of them. Now, this is the strength of the rocket, this 3. These are the resources you need in order to build the rocket or to launch the rocket. So if I could play a red resource and a yellow resource, or somebody else could play those on me, I can launch this strength 3 rocket. Now, there are multiples out here that I could launch it at, or I could work with somebody else to launch at the same time. Say somebody else had a strength 4 rocket out. We can work together to take out this 7. You're going to have to, because there are no 7 rockets, so you have to work together. However, on these ones that you don't know the power to, you could launch this level 3 at either one of them. If I launch it at this one, oh, well, that's a 3. That was a bad example. So say it was this one, and I hit a level 1 meteor with a level 3 rocket. Well, that causes, I think they called it overspray or over something. I don't remember. But you lose the timer for that day. Or you lost
a minute.
You lost a timer, yes. You lost a timer out of the game. So you basically lost a minute because it sped up the shards faster. If I had sent it to this one, and again, bad example. If I had sent it to this one, it would have just taken it out, done. However, say, nope, that's another 3. Let me find one that's not a 3. There we go. Say it was this guy I shot it at, and it's actually a 4. Then it turns over. Everybody knows it's a 4, but it has no effect because it's not strong enough to do anything. So, yes, I could have taken this one out. I'd have taken this one out, but it would have been detrimental to the rest of the game. This one, it would have done nothing to. So you don't know what you're shooting at until you hit it.
Except for these.
Except for these guys, yeah.
That
But meanwhile, you've got a handful of cards of different rockets, and you've only start with like 6 or 7 cards, and you can't draw more cards until the next round, which is when a full minute is up. So you're trying to get through your cards and hopefully helping other people get as much done as they can so you can draw back up more cards. You want to get your cards played. And there are special I saw one in here, like a mystery plant. It looks like everybody, when this gets built, everybody gets an extra card, something. So there are special things that happen that you can build as well to benefit the game.
The base games is crazy, but then you got the advanced cards that just adds a lot of chaos.
I mean, I could see the benefits of it. This could be a really good team building type of game, team building activity.
Some kind of, yeah.
Yeah. That being said,
There's
it
better
was
games that do it.
really chaotic. This sits in the travel collection. We are going to let this one go. It just was not. We've played it a couple times, and we've never had any fun with it. So we're going to let it go. Simple as that. So, unfortunately, the fate of the Earth will no longer be in our hands. Somebody else can have that pleasure.
Yep.
So yeah, Meteor. All right.
Next is a area control game called Medieval Mastery. This is a lot like Ventura.
Ventura.
But this uses dice instead of the little minis,
instead of
depending
little
on what
minis.
you have.
Yeah, this one, we picked this one up from Half Price Books a long time ago. And I remember enjoying some plays of it. But I think that was before we really got into gaming and we figured out area control is not our thing. So the board is built of these tiles, and it's built based on player count. So there's a series of tiles out of different, of course I grabbed all ones, but you've got a whole bunch of tiles out of various strengths, and the strengths just simply depict how many victory points you get at the end of the game if you control them when the game is over. And then some of them have icons on them that signify special things that happen if you win a battle there.
Right, if you take over
If
the
you
tile.
win or lose a battle, yeah. So the board is built up of these, and then everybody has their own personal castle tile on the edge. Again, the book describes how to set up for every player count. So the idea is that you've got all these different tiles out here. Everybody has so many knights, and your knights are depicted by the pips on your dice. So your castle, and of course I don't have a castle piece here, but that's okay. Pretend my castle's right there. So you start with 6 knights in your castle, and from there you can distribute them any way you wish. And how you distribute them is simply changing the pips on your dice. So maybe I only want to keep 1 in the castle, and I'm going to put 4 over here in this village and 1 over here in this village. Whatever. The start of your round, you always get 3 more knights in your castle automatically. So you start out with 3, and then you can redistribute. As the game goes on, it's like, for instance, in a 2-player game, the winning condition was 1 person having a total of 13 points down here in the corner. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen on this board. There's only 6 out there, but you get the idea. And in a 2-player game, there aren't enough. You have to battle. There's just no way around it. So if Greg were to come in here, say I had 4 guys here, and Greg sends 5 guys from his castle, he would come in here to attack me. And from there, the attacks are all done via card play. Everybody has a series of cards. Oh, look, there's the purple castle. We'll put the purple castle right there. Everybody has the exact same deck of cards, so there's no difference in the colors. You get, I think it's 5 cards per round. When a battle round starts, everybody, well, both players in the battle, play down a conflict card. And then once that's played down, simultaneously, everybody turns it over. You add that conflict card to the pips on your dice, to the number of knights you have on this location. And then after that happens, everybody, starting with the defensive player, gets a chance to play a support card. And you can play a support card to add to your number. If that makes you win or ties you, then the other player can now play one. If I know I'm 2 off and all I have is a support of 1, there's no point in my wasting my support card. I'll save it because he's going to win, in which case my guys come back to the castle. I lose 1 and the rest come back to the castle or something like that. I don't remember. But it's fairly simple, straightforward combat system. It's not a bad game. We've enjoyed it.
No, it's not.
This was in our collection for a long time. We did move it to the travel collection last year, or a couple years ago, I guess.
Yeah, because it just never came up.
Yeah, it just never came. Well, and we discovered that area control just wasn't our thing.
Right.
So, but area control is a very popular mechanism. Anyway, Medieval Mastery, we are going to go ahead and hold on to this one just because it's one of the few area control games we have. So yeah, it's going to stay in the travel collection. I think it is a good game. Yeah. I do enjoy it. It's just not our kind of game. So yeah, it's going to stick around.
Next, we have a game about ants. This is Micropolis.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. We picked this one up on one of our road trips. All right, so the idea with this one is you're trying to build an anthill.
An ant colony.
An ant colony, sorry. All right, so everybody starts the game with one of the centerpieces, which, what do they call those? Foundation tile. And you get 5 ants from the stack to put on it. And these are just little, I know it's kind of hard to see them on the video when they're all in a big old clumped bag, but they're just little soldier ants.
You put a little picture out there.
There you go. So there's your soldier ants, and I'm going to go ahead and put him away now so I don't drop him on the floor. So I'm apt to do that here lately, I feel like. All right, so the game is played. Everybody has one. The 2-player variant, you can start with 2 and build them simultaneously if you wish. You can choose which one you're going to build on that turn, which is what we did. It was actually very interesting. Typically, though, you start with 1. There are 7 of these laid out on the table. And this plays pretty much with the
Century Spice
Road. The Century Spice Road mechanism, where starting with the first one, you can take this one for free and add it to your colony. But if you want this one, then you have to put an ant out of your colony onto here for somebody else to take in order to get it. Same thing. If you want this one way down here, you've got to put 4 ants out before you can take this one and add it to your colony. So the basic idea of what you're trying to do is build out your colony to get points. Each of these have different things on them. Like this one has the nurse on it. The nurse will give you 2 ants if you build her. So you get 2 of the red ants from the supply to put into your foundation. Some of them have pieces of fruit on them. The fruit all score exponentially depending on how many you have, as long as they're all in the same line.
Colony.
So they have to all be in the same line of tunnels. They can't be in different tunnels. There are ones with barracks on them, and when you pull a barracks tile or you place a barracks tile, you can rearrange and take ants out of the center and put them into barracks. And if your barracks are full, then you get extra points at the end of the game based on the size of the barracks. And then there is the queen bee, or the queen ant.
If you use in the wrong spot.
Oh, she is right there. I didn't even see her. The queen ant will allow you to, well, she scores extra points for every tile that is part of her tunnel, essentially. So you want her to be in a tunnel that hopefully stretches all the way around your board because she's going to score you more points that way. So all sorts of things. At the end of the game, you score 1 for every ant in your colony, no matter if it's in the same tunnel or not. However, the person with the tunnel with the most number of ants scores an extra 5 points. So you're trying to do that. There's the century. So it's just an interesting little game. It was actually a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed our plays of this one. It's very light. There's still a puzzle to it, trying to work out which tile to grab to make your tunnels grow in the way you want them to grow, fighting over those pieces of fruit when they come out because they are valuable, especially if you can get 6 different types of fruit. And gosh darn it, I knew I would do that. Anyway. That is Micropolis. It is a fun little, I mean, it's a city building game, technically. You're building the colony. So we're going to hold on to it. But yeah, Micropolis.
Yep.
All right.
Next, we have a big card game from John DeClaire.
Oh my goodness.
This is the Conclave box for Mystic Vale. This box holds all the expansions.
Yes.
We don't have all the expansions, so when she opens it up, you'll see a lot of empty spaces in there. We
of
have
empty
3 expansions, I believe.
I think so. I'd have to go back and look at my spreadsheet. All right, so yes, we do have the main game. We have a number of expansions, but as you can see, we do not even have close to all of the expansions.
We have 4 expansions.
Is one of those the...
Oh, this is the
that's
Conclave. So I was right. We had 3.
Technically, the Conclave is an expansion. It did come with cards.
Oh, that's true.
So-
So we have Veil of Magic, Veil of the Wind,
the-
and
oh.
Mana Storm.
I was going to say, where's the base rules?
And the base game plus
Yep.
Conclave.
Yep. So, okay. Everybody starts off with a hand of cards, or a deck of cards, I should say.
Move your own color.
Yeah, all different colors. The number of cards you in your hand is dependent on what you draw.
Well, they're never in your hand.
That's true. They're never in your
They're
hand.
in
That's a
the
good point.
tableau.
So the way this one plays, the basic idea of this game is there are different symbols on your cards. A lot of the cards are blank. A lot of the cards will have fertile land on it, and some of the cards will even have, can I find one? There we go, cursed lands. As you are drawing cards from your deck, you are looking at what you're drawing. So if I'm drawing here, great, I have that's a cursed land. I'm okay, because I only have 1 cursed land ability out here. This has no curse symbol, so I'm okay. These symbols here are your purchasing power. This is the symbol you want to show up, especially early in the game. There's another purchasing
You're supposed
power.
to flip
Good.
it over onto your deck, because
True.
if another curse comes up,
More blanks. And these cards are blank for a reason. You're going to add to them. My goodness. There's another cursed land. So now I have 2 cursed lands out here. I have a choice now. This is my 3rd cursed land. I could push my luck and go ahead and use it. Okay, I lucked out. I would be good. I would be stopping here. But if I want to push my luck again, I can. But as soon as I pull up that 4th cursed land, as soon as there are 4 visible, I bust. I'm out. So my turn would be over. Now, there are some advantages sometimes. Everybody starts with one of these. This is basically an extra copy of the purchasing power. You can use it any time. And when you use it, you flip it over. If you bust, you get to flip it back so it's available for use again. That's really the only advantage to busting, is to get this back. But had I stopped here and only had 2 cursed lands out, I'm okay. I still have 4 purchasing power. Purchasing power simply means that you have the ability to craft one of your cards. The game starts out with a number of levels of cards out, with stacks of cards out here. You've got 3 levels, 1, 2, and 3. Say I bought this one. I could add this card, because you see it's clear, to one of my blank cards if I wanted to. Or I could even add it to one that already has something on it. Now, I don't think this would be a very wise idea, because this is going to put 2 cursed lands on the same card. It could make you bust every single time you play it, but you could do that if you wish to. So the idea is you're picking you're buying these clear cards out of the center of the table and putting them onto your cards, so that the next time these cards come up, now you have another ability on them. And some of the cards will have different actions along the side that will affect the entire card. Some of them are endgame scoring. So you're basically literally crafting the cards as you play the game. There are other cards down too that give endgame scoring and sometimes one-time bonuses, but a lot of them, well, they all require some sort of symbols in order to get them. So you have to have these symbols in your tableau all at the same time. If I do, then I can grab this card from the display. So all sorts of different things going on with this one. But the bulk of it is you are crafting cards. You're crafting out the cards that eventually will make up your deck. I love this game. I always have. I don't win it very often, but I do love it. All right, anyway, that is Mystic Vale. I said it comes in much smaller boxes than this one, but we had so much of it already that we just decided
I
to
got
go
you
for
that
the big
for
guy.
a birthday present of a significant milestone birthday.
Yes. Yeah. No, I love it. And I put it on. Don't pay attention to him. For that, I'm going to leave it on backwards. There we go. See? It's on backwards. It'll drive him crazy for the rest of the episode. It'll be changed 5 seconds after I turn off the recorder, I'll tell you that much. All right. Anyway, that is Mystic Vale. And it's going to stick around. Go on next. I'm not changing it now. Go. I just grabbed the next game. Jeez.
Meeple War. The box lid's on right.
Anyway. Whew. All right, so this is one we picked up at the Dice Tower Retreat last year. This was one of the extras.
This was one of the extras on the table. You liked the picture, so you
Yeah.
said, "Ooh, that looks cute. Let's
It
take
looks
it." Before
cute.
you realized it was an area control game.
Yeah.
Well, it's not. It's not. It's not an area control. It's confrontational.
Yes, it's confrontational.
It looks like a little kid's game.
It does.
It's
It
not.
is not. No.
It can be a very mean game.
It can be. All right, so the way this one plays, the book gives you setups based on player count that you start the game with. Everybody has their little home field off on one side. Everybody has a number of tiles that they have the availability to build. You have your victory point tile set off to the side. You have your depot tile. I don't remember exactly what they call it. Depot tile, okay. And then you have your home base, which I don't remember what your home one looked like, but based on the layouts in the book, you're laying out so many tiles.
Oh, it's that one.
And I
This
don't.
is the building one.
Okay, so is this one?
Yes.
Okay, so you have everybody has their little home build board, the little home thing, and then you have a number of other tiles over here that you can build throughout the game. You start with.
And actually, the game started like that with another tile here, and then the other player.
Was that all
for
there
a
was?
two-player game? Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember
Everything
how many
else
were
got
out.
built up.
Oop, oop, oop. On your turn, you start out with your little meeples in various places. Everybody has the ability to build 4 of their tiles on their board, but you have to have certain actions to do so, and there's certain icons on each of your tiles. Like on your home one, this one starts out already built. Every other tile you build is going to start out on this side where you're constructing the building. And you start here, and then it takes you 4 turns to get to the flip over side, and then you can flip it over and actually start using the tile. And then your white cube starts in this blue area, and then on your turn, you're moving all of the white cubes in your village. One notch. So you can move it down here, well, you can move it up here to build a tile. It doesn't cost anything to build a tile. You just take one from your reserve and put it down on your board on the in construction side.
And add its
Simple
white
as
tile
that.
to it.
And add,
Or his white
and
cube.
add your white cube to it. Done. Or you can go down here and get some armies. Or on this one, you can even go forward and get.
This is where you get the
This is
army
the-
to put in your depot.
And this is where they go
That's
onto
where
the
they
board.
go out to the gate.
Okay, that's what I thought. So if I went here, I would take 2 armies and put them in my depot. If I went down here, I would take up to 3 armies
And put
off
them at
of
your
my
gate.
depot and put them right in front of my gate, my city gate, which would be laying right here. So one of your options is to move. And if you move into an area, you are exploring off of this huge stack of tiles. You take a tile, you flip it over, and you orient it in any way you wish. And done. Now, a lot of these tiles have little flags on them. Flags are victory points. If you hold on to them, they're temporary victory points.
As long as you hold on to
As long as you hold on to them, when the game is over, you still have them. If you play down one that has trees on it, trees are barriers. You cannot walk through them. So like I could not have put this right here because this guy could not legally have walked through this tree line. I would have had to turn it this way. But now he can't get into here because there's a tree line there. So you do have some natural barriers in the tiles.
And this one actually has power. When you have the 2 meeples on it, you can actually walk through
You
the
can walk
trees.
through the tree. Okay, so that was a bad example, but still, you get the idea. So Throughout the game, you are basically advancing. You're trying to take over your opponent's areas and their tiles they're on, while trying to build out and explore to find these and to find other tiles that offer you special bonuses. Alternatively, I might want to get, nope, that's the wrong tile. I might want to be able to get up to here, because then I can go into his territory. And after there are so many there of my people there, and there's marks on each one of these as to how many intruders need to be there in order to destroy them, then I get a victory point. Victory points are tracked here. When you gain a victory point, you have to take one of your meeples and put it onto there. First person to 6 wins the game. So little by little, you're losing your meeple army. These guys are going away to become victory points. So it's going to make it harder to get those remaining victory points. Mm-hmm. It says it's a 30-minute game. I think it took us about an hour.
It took us a little bit longer,
yeah.
But we were still learning it. We had a lot of questions about certain tiles and how certain things happened. And
we did. And neither one of us are big on confrontation or area control, and this one definitely is both.
Yep.
So it's a cute game. It has sat in our collection since we got back from the retreat. We are going to move it to the, so it's only been 6 months. We are going to move this to the travel collection. I think it is a cute, quick game for what it is, but it is not something that's ever going to come off of our shelves. I should have put it on upside down, but I didn't. See, it's good.
You would not make it through the last of this video.
Whatever. Anyway, that is Meeple War, and it is going to move over to the other collection. All right.
Next, we have a very easy co-op. This is probably the lightest co-op we own.
Oh, easily.
But it still has
so
that.
Much fun.
It's a lot of fun. It still has that cooperative anxiety attack that you're having during it. Like, going, are we going to make it?
I love this. It looks like a table or a
food box.
A food box over here on the edge with the contents and everything on it. That's cute.
But Miller's Zoo is all about a real zoo up in Canada that takes in, I always say, refugeed animals. They rescue exotic animals.
Yeah. All right, so this one...
actually, not all exotic, because there's farm animals in here too.
All right, so this one comes with, it also comes with kind of a scenario-based legacy type. Yeah. We're up to envelope number 3. We've not had our first loss yet, so this one is still sealed. That's nice. Well, let me rephrase that. We've not had our first loss since we started the scenario. We've not had our first loss. We've played 6 games so far. We've been very careful not to have our first loss so far. All right, so the idea with this one is, as Greg said, you are rescuing farm animals, or not farm animals, you're rescuing animals to pull into your zoo. This is the board. It depicts this zoo up in Canada as well as a receiving area. So, here we go. So, everybody starts down here on the cantina. The game starts, we already have 6 animals out here, and then this is your reception area. In any one given game, you have 6 to 7 animals you have to rescue. And I think as we go through the scenario pack, it's going to get harder. We're going to have more we have to rescue. So, and each of these animals...
Or the animals take more icons
take more
to
icons
rescue.
to rescue or to satisfy if they need something. For instance, you would start the game with these cards out right here. All right, so how the game runs. Everybody starts with 4 cards in their hands, 4 resource cards in their hands. Meanwhile, there's also these what are called needs cards right here. Everybody starts with 4, and then everybody draws 1 needs card, naturally. Some of the needs cards only have 1 thing on them. So say it's a 2-player game, we're pulling 2 needs cards. We would put tokens on every animal that has this ball on it. So Patoff, the raccoon, wants to play, so he would get an extra ball on him. And then I would put 1 comb on every animal that needs grooming that has the grooming icon. So Napoleon, the miniature horse, gets a grooming icon. And then I've got the card upside down. And then everyone that wants extra water. So Dodge, the pygmy goat, also gets a water icon. And that sets up our difficulty for this round. Those get discarded and done. However, if somebody pulls one with this icon on it, they get an extra resource card, which is good, except that this deck is your timer in the game, so you don't want it to run out. So throughout the game, we're using these cards to try to not only satisfy the needs of the animals that we just put out there, but also to try to get these guys into our zoo. Meanwhile, these cards also double as our movement. Every card has this little golf cart on the bottom, and in order to move from place to place, you have to use one of these cards. So you got to be careful on how you use them. There are wild cards that can be used on anything. These are very valuable. At the end of the round, if anybody has any cards left they've not spent, there is a warehouse area here.
They can hold up to 3.
As a group, you can put 3 cards in here. And you can decide, if there's 4 cards left, you guys can decide which 3 are going to be the most valuable, hopefully, for the next round. And put those 3 here. The next round, anybody can pull and use because they're in the warehouse. So you're moving around trying to solve problems. So for instance, I have a ball. So maybe I'll take my person over. I'll use a golf cart. Maybe I'll use this toolkit. I don't need that this round. So I'll use that to move over here and give the ball to Patoff so that he is satisfied. And then we take his icon off the board. Or maybe I come over here and I use my comb and my wild card to take care of these 2. And that way we're good. Now, what happens if we don't get them taken care of? Say I chose to come down here and do something down here with my remaining cards. Then at the end of the round, we have to satisfy the needs before the night is over. So you start pulling cards until you've satisfied the needs. Oh, there's the water that Dodge needs. Okay, great. So we keep going, slowly emptying out our game timer until all of the needs have been met of all the animals that are currently in your zoo. That's how we've lost the game a couple times.
Because the game ends whether either you have all these in or all these cards are gone.
And it's not a hard game. It's actually, it is a 5-minute teach, if that.
And like I said, I think it's really cool. It's all about the zoo in Canada.
The real zoo,
Because the characters you can play are the workers at the zoo.
Yes.
The animals that are on here with the names are actual animals in there. Because if you look at the bottom of the cards, it tells you a little snippet about the things, the animals. Because like Patoff, it says, despite many attempts, Patoff never wanted to return to the wild.
Aww.
And then Luna is this friendly wolf, along with her friend Cloud, was Emily's first wolf. Emily is one of the workers.
Emily is right there, Yeah, Dodge says, with his crooked jaw, Dodge quickly became a zoo favorite. Oh, look at his little jaw. It's all crooked.
So these are all animals. Like, these are the tropical animals.
Yeah.
These are the North American animals, and these are the farm animals that are all rescued to this thing. And they are all actual real animals that were in this zoo.
Yeah, I love it.
It's really cool.
Throughout the game, each of these packets are giving us more animals. Matter of fact, I think Annie, one of these came from, envelope 1, level 2, level 2. All of these came from the first envelope. So
as you're doing these gives you quests that you go on to do, basically assignments that you do, and as you do them and finish them, you get little stickers, and on the back of the board, you can follow your
trail.
The trail of it.
And
a lot of them have little sidetracks, like envelope number 5 is going to have 3 different things we're going to have to do when we get to the envelope 5.
Yeah.
And then the rule book, every time you open an envelope, is going to add stickers, just like Pandemic Legacy or any of the legacies that adds something to the rule book. So it's a really interesting game, and I did we don't use them, unfortunately. They gave you these little recycled paper bags to put all your components in it if you want to.
Yeah, I end up using these hard plastic cases, the reusable plastic cases. I love these things, and they keep everything nice and neat. But we did. The cards do, they add things to your character. They give you special powers. They give you a permanent resource you can use every time you go someplace. Even if you've used that someplace else and you move someplace else, you get to use it again. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great, yeah. This is by far one of my favorite cooperatives right now.
This was on my radar at Gen Con. She had never heard of it. I found it where they were demoing it. She sat down and demoed it. She liked it enough that before we even left the booth, she was teaching the game to somebody else.
Well, the guy that taught us was busy teaching in the footsteps of Darwin, so, and I remembered how to play. It was just a family of 4, 2 small children, and it builds itself as a cooperative family game.
And it is.
It totally is.
We played this on the 24.
We did. I want to say it was a 24.
Yep, so our last 24-hour marathon for Extra Life.
Yeah.
Which is coming up.
It is.
In June.
Very well. I feel like it's right around the corner.
It's March.
Though. As
so
fast
yeah,
as it's
so
going.
it's what, 3 or 4 months away?
3 months.
So next we have
All right.
Mille Fiori. This is a game that looks really cool because it's colorful on the table.
This game.
It's a Reiner Knizia game. We played this. Our first play of this was at Dice Tower West.
Yes.
And we liked it enough that on our way home we bought the game.
We found it and picked it up. Yeah, really neat game store. I don't remember where it was though. So, this is your board. Huge area, lots and lots of just places to put your tokens. So the idea with this one, and I'm just going to take that and put that right off to the side. Everybody has, during the game, these beautiful plastic, acrylic, I think they're plastic, but anyway, these beautiful diamond tokens that you're eventually putting them out all over the board on different spaces. Hopefully, well, that would be a silly place to put that. I'd put that right there. But anyway, all right, so the game...
right there so you can score it. Well, no, you can't score it.
Either way. Everybody starts the game. You start each round, let me put it that way. You start each round with 4 cards in your hand. And then there is a set of additional cards off to the side that you hopefully will get an opportunity to pull from later on. Every spot on the board, every single spot on the board is depicted by 1 card in the deck. Every card in the deck corresponds with something on the board. So there's never going to come a time where you have a card in your hand you can't play because it just doesn't happen. Yeah. So you can't put something down until you play the card. So you pick your card out of your hand of 4, you put it down. After you've finished your turn, you pass your cards. Everybody, one by one, starting with the start player, plays their card out and does what the card says. So it's really relatively quick turns. So you do what the card says, you score your points, you're done. Then this gets discarded. You pick up the 3 cards that were just handed to you, and you do it all over again. You pick up one, you decide which card you're going to play, put it down, pass the rest of your cards. On your turn, you flip it over and put your piece out. Simple as that. It's just such an interesting game, and the card play, you're looking at these hands of cards and you're like, oh, I really want to do this one that'll get me 6 points, but at the same time, man, I could get my 4th one down here. So, and you know, especially in a high player game, these cards are never coming back to you, but there's lots of them out there. Or maybe I'm going to play this one because it'll give me the extra card, and the card I really want to play is right there. So but you got to beat somebody to it. Hopefully you're not last in turn order that round. It's just such an interesting game.
Yeah. There is AP in the game, but the AP, the part of the game that's AP, everybody's doing it at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's not like, okay, I've got my cards, now I got to figure out which card I want.
Everybody's
I'm taking that card.
decision.
Here you go. You make your decision now. No, everybody's making that decision at one time, so it kind of cuts down the AP. Because when you play the cards, there's no AP to it. You're going to do what's on the card and place your tile. So the AP is really low in this game.
I think so. Yeah.
Like I said, the biggest part of the AP is deciding which card you're going to go. But by the time you get them anyway, you kind of know where you're going to go on the board anyway. You're just looking for that card now.
At most, you have 4 choices. That's it. You can't choose something you don't have. So, which is nice.
So it's definitely an interesting game. We've played it a few times, and
we've played it at 4-player. We've played it at 2. We definitely like it better at higher player counts.
Yes,
for sure. There's just one. It's a prettier game. There's just more colors out on the board, but there's more blocking.
Yes.
In a 2-player game, you can avoid each other pretty well.
Yeah.
And those 2 areas that you want the pyramids, they never really get built because
Nobody's
there's
doing
just
there
no
because
points in
nobody's wanting to. It's like, well, if I go there now, you're gonna build a pyramid.
Yeah.
You're gonna get more points on
Yeah.
it from me. And
So it's hard to do that one. So yeah, I really enjoyed this game. I don't know if it'd be good for the 24 because the print is so small, but boy, the colors would look cool. I don't know. But yeah, Mille Fiori, we're going to keep it. Going to hold on to it. It's going to stick around.
next, we have a heavy game here. And when I say heavy, I meant the box is extremely heavy.
Physically,
this
yeah.
is
There's a lot in
Merchants
this
of
one.
the Dark Road. And I'm going to lay it back down. Because this
It's
will
all
make
in
a thud
cases.
if it falls off.
Right? Yeah, no, it's all cases. Okay, so this one is, the board is at the very bottom, so I'm not going to dig it out. But this one is basically a big rondelle.
You'll show a picture.
Yes, I will show a picture. This is the one that had the magnet in this, didn't it? Is that one of the fancy things on this one? If I remember
Yes,
correctly,
that
one
has
has a magnet that
this
holds
just
it.
turns
Yeah,
to tell you what
that's right.
what the resources, how much the resources are worth.
Right, right. But the magnet keeps it in place, which was a kind of a unique. They built it into the cardboard, which is neat. Anyway, so we do have the upgraded components on this one. I splurged and got those at Gen Con last year. So these are the original boards. These are our boards. And then the back side of any one of them is the solo player. I'm going to just set those aside and grab one of the, I'll grab my board, my red board. With this one, the basic gameplay is a big rondelle. Everybody has their little wagon, which again, upgraded pieces. The other pieces are about half this size. But everybody, you're moving your wagon around this rondelle. This rondelle has 5 spots on it. Each spot gives you the ability to do one of 2, maybe 3 actions, depending on what dice you're using. And I say that because everybody has one of these specials. You start the game with one of these dice, and it gives you access to one extra piece, but the only time you can activate that part of the board is with
one
this
of those
dice. Otherwise, you have access to the other 2 pieces. Rather than pull the board out to remind myself here, but it's places like the Queen's Commission where you're going to go and you're going to pick up different jobs. It's basically stating that you're going to make deliveries of specific items to one of the towns that sits off on the side of the board. Or it's the dark market where you can go basically to the black market and you can pick up things for a little bit more money. Yeah, depending on where the wheel is, where the wheel sits, depends on what you can get from it. There is the Ringway Inn where you can pick up merchants, or you can pick up passengers that want to go out to one of the cities on the outskirts of the board. You can also pick up supplies there too. There is Jurgi's Excursions, there's the Jurgi's Excursions gives you 2 options. You can either go to the ruins and sometimes get some magical items, or you can go out on one of the excursions. And this is the crust of the game. This is the delivery part of the game, where you are delivering to one of 6 cities either the passengers you've picked up or the items that you need for the Queen's excursions, for the Queen, what the Queen has asked you to take to this city. And it's different things that you have loaded up your wagon with. So how the game essentially runs is at the start of the game, you are rolling your dice. You're rolling, if I can get my fingers on them. You're rolling all of your dice, and there are more. I just can't get my hands on them. So you're rolling all your dice. You're putting them up here. You're starting the game. Actually, the game starts with 3 dice right here. 1, 2, 3. Done. Right. If I can get a 3. There we go. 1, 2, 3. And the rest of these dice are all going down here with your specialty dice, your illuminated dice right here. And throughout the game, you're choosing one of these dice to do an action, and that depicts how far you can move along the road. There's only 5 spots on the road. So you depicts how far you can move along the road, and then you get to do one of the actions right there unless you do something special, and sometimes it'll give you the option of doing both. Just depends on how you're playing. The illuminated dice, if you use that die, gives you the option to access that secret spot.
Yes.
When you run out of dice down here, you take one of the dice you've used, you literally take it out of the game, you re-roll everything else, and you put them back down here, and you continue going. And then eventually you're going to be out of dice. You will no longer have any dice, and that triggers the end of the game. But throughout the game, you are collecting items here. You're taking them out on the Queen's excursions, out into the area, out into the various cities. You are, like I said, traveling around the board, doing actions to get those objects to take out to the cities. One of the things I like the most on this one is that when you travel, other people in the game, your opponents, have the option of traveling with you. If you go to the Yuri's shop, whatever it was called, and decide to travel out onto the dark road, you have a couple of options. First, you announce where you're going, and then everybody else, and there's 3 sets of cities. So they're blocked off in sets. Each set has 2 cities attached to it. So if I'm going, and we're going to cheat and look at the rule book again, just so I can give you an actual name. If I am going to Northbreak, and Greg needs to go to Scorchborn, then he can go with me and tag along. Now, if he needs to go to Windglass or one of the other colored cities, then it's not going to do any good because he can't get there from the direction I'm going. But he can tag along if he needs to go to either the city I'm going to or the attached city. So when that happens, you decide, one, how you're going to go. Are you going to take the dark road, or are you going to take the shortcut? The dark road doesn't typically cost anything else to go down, but it's also not as lucrative. If you take the shortcut, you have to pay, and again, these are upgraded pieces, you have to pay 3 lanterns to go down the shortcut, but it's a little more lucrative potentially. When you do so, you draw a card based on which direction you decided to go, whether you took the dark road, which costs you, or no, I'm sorry, this is a shortcut, costs you 3 lanterns, or the dark road, which I guess is just lit by the moon or something. I don't know. There's no tree cover, so the moon comes through. I don't know. But anyway, you pull the card based on the direction you decided to go and roll some dice. Now, there are a different set of dice for these, numbered 1 through 6. There is a formula to determine how many dice you're rolling. I think you get everybody who goes gets 1.
Gets a dice, and then if you have,
and there's always 1 extra or
there's
something.
familiars too that you can
have that offer more
might
dice.
give you dice.
Yeah. So you figure out how many dice you're rolling. You roll the dice, and then based on that's a good roll. Based on what you rolled, you choose. The player who initiated the trek chooses first. So, like for instance, on this one, the 6 is going to give me a treasure. This is another 6. This 2. Well, that's not so good. I'm going to lose something. And the 1, I'm going to lose even more. So the person who initiated the trek gets to choose first. Well, heck, I'm choosing one of these 6s. Then the next player in turn order gets to choose, and then so on and so forth until everybody has made their choice. Some options are good, some options are bad. Once that's been decided, you drop off your stuff, you get your points, you do what you need to do, and then the game resumes with the next player. It's an interesting game. There's a lot going on, but yeah, I mean, this is one I have really enjoyed every play of. And like
I think you've won every play.
Have I?
I think so.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm not sure if I've won this one or not.
I don't know. We did do a breakdown on one of our podcasts on this one not terribly long ago. I don't remember exactly when, but so if you want to hear more about it, by all means, please go check that out. It is available both on YouTube and on. Oh, I forgot to put the wagon away.
She'll put down what episode it is.
Oh, there you go. Good idea. So yeah, I'll put the episode number down here if you want to check that out. But yeah, good game. I really like what it does. I can't believe we upgraded everything except the metal coins, which...
The metal coins cost as much as the game.
They do, but they're pretty, and eventually we're going to end up with them. So, but anyway, great game. Merchants of the Dark Road. Highly recommend this one. Yeah, it's going to stick around.
Next is a yellow game. It's a Kiesling Kramer game called Mexica. This has actually a series of Mexica, Cusco, and Tikal. There's 3 of them.
Is there? This is the only one we've ever played. And I know it's a super popular game.
It has awesome components.
Oh my gosh, the components. Well,
most of the components
are gorgeous, yes. So with this one, here's your board. The idea with this one, it is essentially an area control game. Oh, I hate these boards that open up like this just because I'm always afraid I'm going to rip them. Anyway, so here's your board. Oh, it's upside down, but it's okay. So throughout the game, you are, well, and let me back up. The components, ooh, that one's open. Like, for instance, here's your bridges. Those are fine. Those are good. These are your temples. These are phenomenal. There's no other word for it but phenomenal. These are, they almost feel like stone. They're done so well, but I think they're acrylic. No, they're resin. I'm sorry, these are resin. So the idea with this game is that you are putting out waterways to carve up this island. And on your turn, you are basically building waterways or putting out temples to get majority into the areas that you've just carved out. So like if I carve this little path out right here, and then you use the bridges to be able to walk over to other areas. So,
but a temple like that would block it.
That temple would block that bridge. Yeah, you can't use the bridge anymore. So, I mean, that's essentially the game. You're putting down waterways, you're putting down temples. Each of the temples take majority based on how tall they are, which are indicated by dots on the top, which, okay. We've played this a few times. And I can see the appeal to it, but at the same time, I don't enjoy
not our type of game.
No. This one got moved over to the travel collection a while back just because we had stopped playing it. And we're going to leave it there because we do know it is part of a popular series, but it's not something that we're ever going to pull off the shelf. So yeah, I mean, that's the basis of it. And obviously there's a little more to it. You've got your little guy that moves around and you can put temples down where your guy is. But anyway, yeah, that is Mexica. Interesting game, but just not our kind of game. So, but it will stay.
Yep. Next, we have a game that is a war game, Memoir 44. It's a very popular war game. Katie said that I would have to play it with my son because she wasn't playing, but she liked it. I really liked it, although I got beat. But as we said, it's a scenario-based game. So you're playing different scenarios. Battles from World War II. The one we played was basically set up for the Allies to win. I played the Axis, she played the Allies. Yeah. The Allies had a lot more players on there. Yeah.
This one was definitely geared toward the Allies winning, for sure.
So the way this plays is that one team's the Allies, one team's is the Axis. Yep. You're setting up based on the scenario in the book. Yeah. Surprised you don't have the board out, showing the board already.
Okay. I was letting you take this one.
But you'll set it up depending on the scenario. We played the forest side.
So yeah,
that is the beachfront side. Basically kind of like Normandy or Omaha Beach. This side's the forest side. We played on this side.
Yep.
You set it up with different tiles on there, making little hazards. You're putting your soldiers in places. Now this game comes.
This is kind of cool. I do like the soldiers.
This comes with all kinds of different parts. It has tanks and barbed wire and bunkers and artillery and your army guys. So if you're a kid and you like the little army guys, this is a game
It lets you play with little green army guys or little blue army guys, whichever. Yeah.
But the thing about this game is once you've set the board, that's all that's going on the board. Nothing else is coming out. And we had this set up and we had everything set out. Like there must be cards because we never played it. So there must be cards that are going to allow us to bring some more stuff out. There's no cards like that. So each player starts with a deck. You also have these little things. There's 3 of them that you clip together, and that's where you set your cards that you have in your hand. So you can see all the cards at one time. Yeah. But the cards are going to play. You're going to play a card every round. So it's not one of those like, I'm going to be mean, I'm just going to throw these guys over there. No, it's one of the cards that's in your hand. you're
So
going
you
to play.
get 4
Yes.
to 6 cards, I think, depending. I don't remember. I think
so
it's
yeah,
6.
so you got cards in your hand, and some of them are specific exactly what you're doing. Like this is a counterattack. Like this one's dig in. You're gonna give orders to 4 different infantry, no matter where they're at on the board. Or you've got cards like this is like probe. This is gonna be more specific because this only allows you to use the center of the board. It's split up in 3 different flanks. You got the left, center, and right flank, and they're divided by little yellow lines. So if you play this card, you can only play anything that's on the inside. Now, if your troops are flanking both sides or on both sides of the red line in that 1 hex, you can still move them if you're using the center one, or you can move it if you're using the left one, depending on which side of the board you're on. So it's really interesting because it is a confrontational game, and it's kind of a take that game, but it didn't feel so confrontational. We didn't get into our little spats that we would have a lot of times in confrontational games because it was just basically all card play.
It was you played the cards and did what the cards said. Now, once you played the card, you still had some decision making as to which ones you moved.
Right, yeah, because...
And there was still dice rolls to make.
Yeah, if you're
combat.
attacking, if you're right, the next hex above in front of you, you're going to roll 3 dice, depending on what you are. I know the troops. We've only played with the infantry.
Right.
So the infantry, if you're next to another tile where there's an enemy at, you got 3 dice. Now, if he had barbed wire there, you're going to lose a dice.
Yeah.
Or if you were back, there was 1 hex between you, you're going to lose a dice. Or if you're back 2 hexes, you're only going to be rolling 1 dice because you're going to roll 2 because you're going to count the hexes between you and the enemy you're shooting at.
Right.
So it was very interesting. I can see why a lot of people like it and why there's so many different expansions. They do have one that's air assault now. That does an air assault. It has dogfighting in it.
Wow. Okay.
Which would be really cool to see. But
you have fun with that. I'm sure your son will play with you.
Katie swears she'll never play it again. This can be played 4 players because you're basically playing teams. And if you play it a 6-player, each teammate can run one of the flanks. So when the flank card comes, I was like, hey, let me use this card and I'll run these guys this way.
Nope, you just need to set up a game day with your son.
Yep, but it's staying in our collection.
Yeah.
Because I really enjoy the game. There's games in this collection that Katie really enjoys and I could care less about. So it stays in our collection up front so I can play it with Justin, I guess.
Justin, just call your dad. Make a game
And I
day.
think we need to play a 4-player between me and you versus Justin and Jackie.
Jackie and I would not enjoy that. Anyway. Memoir 44, classic game. I can see the appeal to it. I can. And I did enjoy the play of it.
It's a war game that doesn't really feel... I mean, it feels like a war game, but it's not one of those big... I'm putting these chits here and those chits there.
It wasn't Axis and Allies.
Right.
Where you
and we went into
making,
it thinking Axis and Allies when we went into it.
And I think that's why
we put everything out.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I was so hesitant and procrastinating.
But it took a war game. Days of Wonders did a great job because it took a war game and made it almost like a family-friendly game.
It did. It did. I will give it that.
So they did a great job at it. So Memoir 44, if you haven't played it, play it. It's a good game. So the last one is a Steffenfeld game. Merlin. This is a Queen's game. This is not part of the city collection because it's not a city.
Nope. It's a person.
But this is when I asked, I said, I wonder if they ever redo this one too and put a city on it.
name
But
on it?
they would have to completely redo the game, I think, because
The theme would be completely,
the theme on this is about Merlin and the Knights
The
of
Round
the
Table.
Round
Yeah,
Table.
it absolutely is.
Because the board is a rondelle, so it's like you're walking around the round table because you're walking across the chairs.
You are literally walking on the table sometimes. Yeah. Okay. So this is the board. As he said, it is
the round table.
A depiction of the round table and all the chairs around it. And throughout the game, I don't know why I keep grabbing your pieces, but whatever. You are, whatever. I can find it. There you are. There is your person. And you are walking, although you like to walk on the table, but you're supposed to be walking on the chairs around the table and the carpet. But whatever. Let me turn this way so it'll actually turn up. So you're stepping around the table. At the start of each round, first of all, let me come this way with this for a second. Everybody has their player board. And on their player board, it holds your dice. So everybody has 3 dice that you're rolling. Well, I can't get them out. My fingers are not cooperating. You have 3 of your colored dice, and you have 1 Merlin dice, which is the white dice. And there is a Merlin figure out here, too, that everybody can use. So you're rolling your dice at the start of your round, and you're putting your dice down here. Those are your moves for the round. That is what you're capable of doing. Now, you also start the round with 3 brigands coming at you. And you know at the start of the round what they are. You basically have 2 rounds to combat them, to get shields to combat their negative effects. So as you are doing your dice, so there we go. I actually managed to get 2. You are moving your figure based on your die rolls. So, and you can choose which one you're doing. So maybe I'm going to move 1. I'm going to go here. Or I can move 4 and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4. Whatever. Where you can go onto the table is depicted by the die rolls at the beginning of the round. Then there's the Merlin die. Merlin, and you can only go clockwise. Merlin can go either direction, but everybody gets to move him. And he's not easily accessible. So he's just a white figure.
White pawn.
So maybe Merlin's sitting right here and you don't want to do, well, actually that's a good spot, but maybe you don't want to do what the 6 is in either direction. So you're going to wait for somebody else to move him, and hopefully that gives you a better advantage point. However, maybe you do need that 6. So you need to move him early before somebody else moves him and ruins your plans. You know, you get to ruin theirs instead. So in each city, when you get to each of the main walkways here, the carpets, you go into a province. It opens up into a province area, and you can send one of your little henchmen, or whatever they're called. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm dropping them now. Everybody has 4 henchmen. You have your shield bearer, flag bearer, person who gives you influence, and then you have your craftsman, your carpenter, I'm not sure exactly what he's called. But anyway, he gets you building materials. And you can put one of these 4 out into the region you're in, not all 4, but 1, and take the action they provide you. If you put the influence out, then you're putting influence into that region. And at the end of the round, that gives you victory points. If you do the flag bearer, then you are taking one of the flags of that region and putting it up against your board. These give you one-time abilities, and then you discard the flag. The shield bearer, you'll take a shield, which is right here on the board, and you put it in that shield spot on your player board, and that will repel one of the brigands coming at you if it's that color. Yeah. So you're wanting to get the shields that match the brigands that are coming at you. And then there's the craftsman. You take a building material, and the building materials are used to build pueblos or
whatever they're called.
I'm not sure what they're called now, but they're extra buildings on a sideboard that give you, again, it's points and it's extra abilities at the end of when you build them. Points at the end of the round, abilities when you build them, if you build them in the right spot. So there's a lot going on here. There are ways to manipulate your dice. You can gain apples by getting the what is that called?
That'd be a chalice. The Grail.
The Grail, the Holy Grail. If you get to the spot where the Holy Grail is, you get an apple with it. The apples will allow you to manipulate any dice in any form. You can take any one of your dice and change the number to anything you wish. There are some flags that will let you manipulate the dice, or let you go backwards, or let you jump across the board, things like that. So all of the flags have those one-time abilities. It's an interesting game. It's definitely a point salad. It is your classic Stefan Feld, a million ways to gain points type of game. I really like this one. There's also a set of cards that you are trying to that give you points. There's an expansion that the cards now can be traded in for special abilities. If you do what the card tells you, then
well, that's the mini Queenie that came with the game.
Is it the mini? It's a little mini expansion type thing?
That came with the game.
Okay. But you're doing these cards to gain the victory points, and it basically just gives you a condition that you have to meet. Like in this one, I have to have my flag bearer at the Brown Castle. okay. Or, well, that's the same basic thing. I have to have 2 influence at the brown castle, or I have to have the blue flag and the purple flag. In the little mini module that they give you, you can turn in one of these to gain 1 powerful ongoing ability.
It depends
if you choose,
on what the number is up in the corner as to what level you can use.
Yes. And you can only do that 4 times.
Yeah.
But otherwise,
once you
trade
choose
it in.
one, you're stuck with that one.
Yes. Or you can just use it for the points and gain points from the cards. So it's up to you. Like I said, again, a lot of things going on in this one. But interesting game. I do really enjoy this one. Oh, let me put the board back down here on the bottom.
It's a Stefan Feld. Stefan Feld's one of our favorite designers.
He is, yes.
So we have a lot of Feld games.
Yeah. That's an understatement.
But yeah, this is one of this is one that we can agree on that it's one of our favorites.
Yes. Oop,
after that, it's kind of all over the place.
We're all over the place after this one, yeah. All right, that is it. That is it for this episode. So let us know, as always, if you've played any of these. What do you agree with? What don't you agree with?
Do box lids need to match the bottom?
Guarantee you Mystic Veil's going to be changed before we even finish breaking
I didn't
down.
forget about it. Trust me, I've been twitching over here.
Anyway, I was just double checking. All right. So again, that is it for this episode. Next episode on to number 50.
Number 50, and we got a surprise on that one.
Oh boy, do we.
So stay tuned. Until next time.